How are you all doing on this fine day? This is the Spiritual Fishman of the Creative Dumping Grounds, and I'm here with a brand new video. Now, in today's video, I'm starting a bit of a new series. I'm sure I say this a lot, but I've been getting really into Minecraft recently, mostly like creative building and stuff, and one of my favorite things to do is build like organics, stuff like rocks, trees, bushes, caverns, all that kind of stuff, and I felt it's kind of fitting if I start making videos on it because it's something I do so much. Similar to how I started, making videos on like fish and like terrariums and stuff like that on my channel, The Spiritual Fish Lad. Since, I do that stuff so much, it just made sense. So I figure, I'm still trying to find my foot, get my footing on YouTube, figure out what I want to do. I've got like freaking, like, 4 channels. I don't know exactly what's going on with each of them. But, I think this is a good way to start, starting to make some videos. Now, does this mean this channel is going to be Minecraft devoted? I'm not sure at this point. Honestly, I was contemplating putting this on my, like, nature channel because it is nature related. But honestly, I feel at some point I'll end up doing stuff that isn't nature related and then I'll post it on a different channel. It'll just be weird. So, none of that matters. Let's jump into it. Now, in today's video, as you guys can see, I've got rocks and trees and bushes. This is going to be expanding over the next few days, but what I have here are these little kind of ugly pillars, and what each of these are different designs for caves in Minecraft. Now, I just want to show you guys all these designs, help you get some inspiration. Some are really basic designs, and some get a bit more, different based on the biomes. You can see another one there. But yeah, let's just jump into it. And the idea behind this video is 2 things. One, to give you guys some inspiration for building your own caves. And a second one would be to, just throw out some suggestions there for Minecraft. Because there is some rumors going around that the next update could be the cave update. Now, not sure about that, but I definitely think it's going to happen at some point. So what you'll see are just kind of some ideas for what could potentially be different caves and different biomes. That's kind of the theme of this video, caves and different biomes, but let's jump into it. So the first cave I've built here is a cave with a lake, and this is kind of my standard way of building a cave. So I've hooked up some redstone here to make this video easier. But anyways, we teleport into the cave, and yeah, it's a very simple cave here. I'll just spawn in some of the, I've got this little pond here, I've got some command blocks set up, as you guys can see. Now, there's a few things you're going to want to pay attention to in this cave. The first thing is the use of the dead coral, both the coral itself as well as the blocks. Now, the blocks integrate themselves very well with the stone, cobblestone, and andesite pattern you're going to be wanting to use a lot in these caverns. Now, you can also throw in some like polished andesite and stone brick and stuff. That can look, okay, but for this cave, I wanted to keep it pretty simple. Now, I, occasionally threw in the coral, which adds a lot of color, well, not color, but it adds a lot of variation within the texture. And these dead corals almost look like dead bushes, which is why I decided to include them. But it also kind of gives the feeling that this cavern was once filled to the brim with water, and it's sort of drained out down here, which is why there would be, dead coral, like plants, and even the dead sea pickles, which look really nice in the caves. Of course, we've also got pebbles, which are, just buttons thrown about, and some wood kind of like supports. You don't have to do this, I just think it looks cool. But yeah, I really like the idea of like a flooded cave that's, a once flooded cave that's like, drained out and now there's only a bit of water left. Now obviously there wouldn't be coral, more like in a cave, that's just because there'd be no light source. But you could make this like an open kind of like bowl if you really wanted to, but I don't know. I just think this is a really cool design, and even without the pond, even without the idea that it was once flooded, it still looks really cool. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Okay, that skeleton spawned without a bow. That's pretty cool. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is a jungle style cave. Now this one is the first one, this one, and another one coming up are probably my 3 favorites. The rest they're alright. Now this one utilizes a few different things here. We've got some parrots down here. Now this one integrates all the blocks we saw before. No andesite though. I wanted to keep, again, all these relatively simple. The use of slabs and the walls as stalactites and stalagmites looks really nice. I also used a ton of vines and the tall grass, which looks really nice here. It gives it a real jungly theme. The cobwebs and the moss stone integrate very nicely. I honestly feel like this is what caves should look like in jungle biomes in Minecraft. And also just the grass underground looks really nice. And yeah, one of the sort of secrets to making these nice caves is actually hiding glowstone under the light gray carpets, which, you know, integrates very nicely. And yeah, that's the jungle cave. And yeah, no, let's move on to the next one, which is the Nether Cavern. Now this was somewhat hard to pull off. I'm not really used to building in the Nether, and well, I am, but I usually in survival I'll go to the Nether and just make it look like the overworld. But I tried to use as many blocks as possible, so tell me guys what you think. Alright, so here's the Nether. It's like a little cavern. I wanted to integrate as many of the red blocks as I could, and the fences, and as well as the glowstone. I pretty much used every Nether block there was. I tried using the dark oak wood as sort of a pebble design, but it doesn't really look that good, so we just have it to spawn the pigman. I really like the idea of the netherwort in the caves. Now, if they were to add this to Minecraft, I don't think it should have netherwort, perhaps some sort of other plant that could grow in the nether, just because the point of going to the nether fortress, other than the loot and like wither skulls and all blazes and all that stuff, is kind of just getting the netherwort, I feel, and doing this would kind of take away from that, but maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, this is just a very simple design. It's not as nice as the other ones, but I don't know, I think I did a pretty good job with it. Moving along, we have a little mine shaft design. Now this is kind of like a micro mine shaft, you can see here. I've kind of simulated the design of a Minecraft mine shaft with this little archway and like the wood supports, and you know, you got your chest with the loot. Just a very simple design utilizing the ores. It is possible to make caves that, you know, look very vanilla but still look very good. And yeah, this is an example of that. So we're going to move on now. Oh, and of course you want to, you know, integrate some pebbles and cobwebs stuff. And like the fences, they aren't vanilla, and like the iron wouldn't be this spread out, but you know, still looks relatively vanilla. Now, which button takes me out? Okay, that one. The next one, I believe, is my favorite. Yeah, this is my favorite one. This is the Mushroom Cavern, and I love this one so much for a number of reasons. One, I think the usage of iron bars works really well, as well as the mushrooms and the mycelium. It integrates really nicely with all the gray blocks, as well as the skulls. It looks so cool. And I also use some dead bushes. Now, you can't actually place dead bushes on any of the blocks I've used here. So what I've done is I've just, you know, set blocked them in. Now, if you're on like a, something like a, what am I trying to say, like console or Pocket Edition, I don't think you can do this, but, you know, it looks really cool. So if you're on PC, then do this. It looks really nice. I didn't use any stone button pebbles in this one because I feel you have enough detail. Well, actually I have one, but that just takes me out. You have enough detail with the sea pickles and the mushrooms, so, and even the dead bushes and the skulls. Like, I felt like there was just enough going on. And that's kind of the secret to making a cave not look over detailed, is just realizing when there's enough going on. You know, I barely replaced, I kept this like mostly stone on the top, and you know, occasionally through cobblestone. There's a lot here, but that's just so you can go up gradually. And yeah, that's another point to make actually, is the use of the Y coordinate. Just adding a bit of depth to your cave can make things look so much nicer. That's the secret to this one and the jungle cave. That's why they look so good. Moving on this way, we have the underwater cave. Now this one is cool. This uses basically the same principles as the first one. You could definitely throw some moss stone in here to make it look really nice. But yeah, this just uses all the new 1.13 blocks to look really nice. And now unfortunately you cannot place buttons underwater, which is a little unfortunate. I chose not to do coral with this one just because I wanted to give it kind of a cavey feel, I guess you could say. I didn't want to like overcrowd it with color. But if I do a second video to this, I'll probably do it with coral. Now unfortunately I have to go in spectator, get out of here because you can't place the buttons. I'm just going to look up so I don't spoil the next build here. And we're going to move on to the Mesa Cavern, or the Mesa Mine rather. Now this one was pretty simple. I just threw around a bunch of clay and threw some gold in there for good measure, and you know, a minecart. I didn't put any loot in that one. I'm slacking. I also included the similar mine shaft design, and I just think this is pretty cool looking. I tried to use the dark oak again as pebbles, but it just doesn't look as good, and stone does not really work in this. But yeah, building caverns without stone is actually really difficult because you can't integrate too many blocks. This one was a lot easier because there's a ton of stone brick. not stone brick, terracotta blocks to work with, and the dark oak and the dead bushes all work really well, and you can actually place these on this, which is nice. Moving along, we have the last three are probably my least favorite, so, you know, worst for last, I guess. We have the Ender Cavern. Now this one, there's not a lot to work with here. You know, you've got your endstone and your, like, you know, endstone bricks, and you can throw some sandstone in there for extra texture, but other than the chorus flower and, like, the end rods, and, you know, you're like 2 end blocks, there isn't a whole lot to work with here. So, yeah. But this does almost look like what I'd expect if Minecraft had, like, cave generation in the end. Actually, does it? I don't explore the end, so I wouldn't know, but yeah, you know, it'd be nice if there was some sort of ore I could place in here, but, you know, there isn't. I tried integrating purpur, but it just did not look good, so let's move on. And you know what, I take back what I said, the desert one actually looks really nice. Actually, you know what, let's leave the desert one for last. Let's go to the frozen one first, because it is just... Ice Cavern is not that good. Now, the problem with Ice Cavern is there's really not a lot to work with, and I tried to make this detailed when, in reality, I think I should have just made something really simple, because a real-life Ice Cavern isn't going to have that much detail. It would just be, like, kind of hollowed-out ice, you know? I'll probably show a picture on screen right now. But what I've tried to do is integrate some snow, as well as, you know, the packed and blue ice, as well as some sea lanterns, as I think they look pretty nice in this environment. And I also threw some of the blue stained glass, because it looks a lot like icicles. And, yeah, that's really about it. Ice caverns are not the nicest ones to build. Maybe someone's built a nicer one than me. I'm sure if you did, like, a large-scale one, it could look really good. Let's end off with a desert cavern. This is probably my favorite one that isn't, like, a traditional stone one. It has, like, you know, the dead bushes growing down here. It's got, like, the gold, like, deposit with, like, you know, some chests with some loot. I don't know, I just really like how this one looks. It kind of looks like something you could find, like, in the desert. It would be cool if, like, little caverns like this one would spawn in the desert, and, like you would just be mining in the desert, and you'd come across something like this. You know, like, kind of like a dungeon. You know what, you could even, like... Oh, I can't spell. You know, you could even, like make a dungeon like this. Like, wouldn't this be cool if, you know, you mine into this and there's like just a husk spawner in here? I think that would actually be really cool as like a sort of like dungeon style. Oh, of course he's gonna be really loud. I'll break that. Like a dungeon style, desert style dungeon. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video where I show off some basic caves. Next time what I'm going to be going over are these rock designs underneath me. Then trees. I've only built 2, but I'm going to be building a few more. Then bushes. Actually, I'll probably do bushes before trees. Then I'll probably move on to stuff like using World Painter or just more advanced stuff. Now, I'm no expert at this stuff yet. I'm just getting started, but, you know, advice from someone who's just starting so I don't get super complicated and confusing. I won't try to explain things in videos I do not understand. I will just tell you guys what to do. Like, oh, how do you build, like, super duper custom trees? You know, obviously I'll show you guys, but I'll also be like, hey, go watch Green, or go watch insert channel here. They make good trees. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. A bit of a different style, but yeah, that's enough for me. Oh, those are my feet. I'll try to not do this log.zip thing next time. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video where we talk about the very interesting topic of rock.